Let's jump right back into it, back into the investigation, because I have some incredibly interesting updates for you. Actually, some explosive revelations regarding the Charlie Kirk case. Now, buckle up, because there's this country that's only the size of New Jersey. It's always the victim. It turns out that they had some people on the ground that day. And I just want to be clear here, no matter what I say throughout this episode, please remember that they are always the victim. Historically, have always been the victim, and they have done nothing wrong. Didn't do nothing wrong on 9/10 either. In other news, let's jump right back.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome. I am so glad that you are here tonight. We have the MAGA civil war that is going on. That's what's going to be on. That's not it. Where is it? Oh my goodness, I didn't even put it here. Can you imagine? That's how busy I was today. But anyway, I thought I actually had it. I'll find it, okay? Because just like, you know what? There's a MAGA civil war that is going on, so we need to get into it. So we're just going to get right into it because we absolutely have a road to cover, okay? So we have Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, and yes, Mrs. Farmer will be featured tonight, and Ben Shapiro. So what has transpired? Well, I cannot even believe that we are here in history where things are going. Everything is happening so quick and so fast, okay? So we're going to capture as much as we can with you guys. So Nick Fuentes was interviewed by Tucker Carlson, okay? So Nick Fuentes has been, he has built his own brand, the Groiper movement, okay? And with everything else that comes with Nick Fuentes. So when Tucker Carlson interviewed Nick Fuentes, the word is he did not push back on anything that Nick Fuentes said, given that Tucker Carlson does give tough interviews, okay? So let's take a look at how everything transpired with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson during this interview, okay? And then we'll share everything else that has caused the civil war to take place inside the MAGA. All right, take a look at this. Here we go.
Eventually just blew over. About a month passed. And at that time, so it was like mid-December, late December. It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's?
Mm-hmm. Always an admirer. But we don't need to go into that. I guess.
Let's get back to it. We'll circle back to that.
It was weird because the reason I mentioned that, it was almost like, as I woke up that day and I was like, oh, it's December 18th. And I was just like very acutely aware of like, today's like a strange day. This is the day that the attempt happened. And so nothing had been happening for weeks at this point. So elections like what, November?
So that was Nick Fuentes telling Tucker that, he's a fan of Stalin. And Tucker Carlson said, we'll circle back later. The entire interview, I actually watched the entire interview. Tucker Carlson never circled back to press on Nick Fuentes as to why he is a fan of Stalin. Okay? So here is Tucker on Greenback. Watch what he said on this interview.
That subway station I showed was built by Stalin in 1939. Joseph Stalin, probably the worst person in human history.
It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's?
Mm-hmm. Always an admirer. But we don't need to go into that. I guess.
Well, that's...
That subway station.
Okay, so here you can see that Tucker, he's aware of Stalin, right? He could have easily, pushed back and everything. He actually says like, okay, Stalin, an evil person and everything. But he just lets Nick Fuentes run with it. And yes, lo and behold, Nick Fuentes ran with it. So Tucker Carlson sat down a couple months ago with Ted Cruz. So watch how Tucker Carlson handled this interview with Ted Cruz, okay? Take a look at this. Here we go.
Shaped by the goals of the Israeli government. And I'm just going to ask you a question straightforwardly. And if you say no, I think we both know that's not true.
Hey, are they shaped by? Is that?
Are they coordinating with the Israeli government?
Are they talking with them? Yes.
The Israeli
Israel
government?
directing them? You want to talk about FARA, the law on lobbying on behalf of someone?
Yeah.
It is, I hire you and you lobby on behalf of me. I direct you. Does Israel direct AIPAC? No, they're not lobbying on behalf of them. Do they care about them? Yes, but...
Or do you think that it's just interesting because what you're now describing in a very defensive way, I will say, is foreign influence over our politics?
No.
The Daily Beast.
So you can see there, it was a very heated discussion. Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. So there has been this pushback. People say like, okay, so Tucker, clearly you failed to push back on Nick Fuentes. It's his platform. He can platform whosoever he wants, right? But at the bare minimum, if you're going to platform somebody, you should be able to, if you're interacting with their ideas, at least have a pushback. Like, take him to task, so to speak. And, Nick Fuentes is a big boy. I'm sure he can absolutely handle it. Because if he's able to say all these things clearly, he can defend him, right? You don't have to like what he said, but you cannot just act like he didn't say something that is absolutely distasteful and controversial. So during the same interview, Tucker Carlson decided to throw some shade against Christian Zionists. Okay? So this is what Tucker had to say. Take a look at this. Here we go, guys.
You, I think, have said it's the neocons, And I think that neoconservatism, where does it arise from? It arises from Jewish leftists who were mugged by reality when they saw the surprise attack in the Yom Kippur War.
Yeah, that's a lot of it for sure. But then, how do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that, John Bolton. I mean, I've known them all, George W. Bush, Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I've seen be seized by this brain virus, and they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are Christian Zionists. What is that?
Right.
And I could just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody, because what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian. That's why. So I don't why not? I'm pissed at the neocons, very pissed. I've said that a million times. I've been mad since December of 2003 when I went to Iraq. And so I went and hassled.
So you had Tucker Carlson over there that he hates Christian Zionists more than anybody, more than anything else. And because it's heresy. So this is the thing that I have noticed that's happening, especially with influencers, or they might be MAGA or whatever, but they might, to me, okay, Tucker Carlson is a Catholic. Candace Owens is also promoting similar things like this, right? She's also Catholic, but, Candace Owens, she's not a Christian. So I'm like, okay, you're talking about stuff that you don't know. You have to understand, okay? Even if the Christians who do believe that, Israel are special people, all these other things, that is not heresy, okay? That is not heresy. You can disagree with their conclusion as far as theology is concerned, but that's not described as heresy. So I don't understand why Tucker had to describe it that way, okay? There's already Christians do disagree on this angle, right? Because there's other Christians who believe the church replaced Israel. So all the promises that they were given to Israel, they transferred to the church. And then there's other view, they believe that, wait a minute, no. The church is the church. Israel is Israel, okay? The problem is like people look at right now, the nation of Israel, what's happening right now, and the people be like, oh, wait a minute. You know what I mean? These are not chosen, so to speak, right? But according to Romans 11, if you read the scriptures, right, there will be a time a large number of Jewish people, around number of Jews, are going to bow their knee to Christ. Nobody is going to heaven because of their heritage. Nobody is going to heaven because he's a Jew. Nobody is going to heaven because he's an American. You are going to heaven by the grace of God. Through Jesus Christ, your faith in Jesus Christ. That's it. There's only one way to salvation, and it is through Jesus Christ. Right now, the nation of Israel, they have rejected Messiah. They do not believe in Jesus. Okay, that's why there is like a Messianic Jews, and I think is what 3,000 of them. The majority of people in Israel, they don't worship Jesus. They don't worship God. They absolutely don't. So I don't understand why people are hung up on this issue. Like, no, it doesn't matter whether they're Jews or not. Whatever else they're doing, they've rejected Messiah. They're not going to heaven simply because they're Jewish people. But people just have this vitriol of there's a hatred of Israel, and that is wrong. Don't just hate people because they're Jews. Don't just hate them because they're Israelis. If they've done something that warrants it, then just explain it. But it's this idea where they're all lumped into one basket, which shouldn't be, especially for people who profess to be Christians. So now, the next person who has also entered into this discussion is none other than Officer Tatum. He was at a Republican Jews coalition, and this was absolutely he was coming for Tucker Carlson. But the issue that I have with Officer Tatum is you are saying all these things to Tucker Carlson, rightfully so, but all the other stuff that Candace Owens is saying is doing, even when it comes to Israel. I mean, like, she's at this point, I don't think she can hide as far as the anti-Semitism that's coming out of Candace Owens' mouth. But Officer Tatum hasn't said anything because according to his words, he doesn't want to bend the bridge, the relationship that he has with Candace Owens. So take a look, take a listen to what he said. Okay, here we go.
You've been podcasting. I don't care how many followers you got. I don't care how much money you got. When you platform somebody, bring somebody on your show and let them just dog out Jewish people, let them just dog out and say they support Stalin, I would never support you. I'm trying not to get crazy in here, but we got to stop being soft on this topic. We got to stop being soft on the topic. Let me tell you what cancellation is not. No one cares if you own your own social media platform and you spew whatever you want to say, whether it's stupid or not. We live in America and people have the right to free speech, but we don't have to platform you. We don't have to let you come on our programs and say stupidity and spew stupid stuff. And for too long, I'm seeing it go on and on and on and on. I see somebody with a sign that said, Tucker is not MAGA. I guess I got to put his name out there. That's not MAGA. When you're on your platform and people are acting as if Sharia law is better than what we have here in America and the laws that are given to us by God through faith, you're a silly person. If you're out here and you don't know whether or not Hamas is a terrorist organization or a political organization, you are a foolish person. And since I'm already name dropping, everybody saw that interview. You have a guy say that he supports Stalin and that he was a big fan of Stalin on your show. You can have him on the show, but doggone it, you better push back on people like that. There's no way you can say that you're a Christian. There's no way you can say you believe in God and you support a person like Joseph Stalin, who did not believe in God, who killed so many people. Enough is enough. We're not putting up with it anymore.
So that was, Brandon, Officer Tatum. He went off. He was not having it. He went off. He was not having it. So obviously that's towards Nick Fuentes. So trust and believe, I'm sure Nick Fuentes will be responding as well. So there is a lot that has absolutely transpired inside the MAGA movement right now, the MAGA influencers, right? This idea of, no enemies to the right. Now it looks like they have the enemies inside the camp. So the question is, how are they going to deal with this issue? So Ben Shapiro is weighing in. And he also went off, okay? The entire program. He didn't even have no ads. He just put out everything about Nick Fuentes coming hard at Tucker Carlson. I'm interested. I'll be like, I think a debate, well-moderated debate between Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro. I think it'll be a good one. It'll be a good one. And, who knows? I mean, like, he platformed Nick Fuentes, so I'm sure he can platform Ben Shapiro. Because right now, Tucker Carlson, in fact, the interview that Tucker Carlson did on Nick Fuentes is number 4, the highest viewed interview that Tucker Carlson had ever since he went independent. And, that's huge. I think Tucker Carlson is on number 2 as far as the podcast is concerned. Then Joe Rogan is on number 1. So, they boast right now, the Nick Fuentes, I don't know, whatever, like, stock, whatever you want to call it, is gaining momentum. Because to him, it feels like this is a win. The Groyper movement is a win. And it does, to be honest, I think even when Tucker had Nick Fuentes, it was after Nick Fuentes went hard on Tucker Carlson, okay? He went hard on Tucker Carlson. So it was, sorry about that. He went hard on Tucker Carlson. So it looks like, why is that thing popping up over there, guys? Sorry. All right. He went hard on Tucker Carlson, okay? So it's, to me, I feel like he realized, you know what? If you cannot beat them, you know what? Just join them. If you cannot beat them, just join them. So it looks like that's exactly what happened. Okay, so let me see if I can just do this because this thing is bothering me right now. Hold on, guys, because I think I have. Okay, there we go. Let's do that. All right. Now we are okay. Okay, so there it is. That was the thing that I had. It was getting in my eyes over here, getting in the way. So we can fix that right about now. So now there was Kevin Roberts. Okay, who is Kevin Roberts? Kevin Roberts is the president of Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation, this is a think tank, okay? The Republican think tank. They are the brains behind the Project 2025. So when Nick Fuentes had the interview with, let's do Ben Shapiro first, right? Let's do Ben Shapiro first. Then we'll go to Kevin Roberts. That way everything makes sense, okay? Let me not jump into that. So this is Ben Shapiro coming after, like calling out Tucker Carlson, okay? And just laying it out there. So I don't know what Tucker Carlson is going to do. If he has responded, I'm not aware, but let's watch what Ben Shapiro said, okay? Here we go, guys.
Tucker Carlson, you see, is a coward. And here is where his relationship with Nick Fuentes begins, with Nick Fuentes correctly pointing out that Tucker Carlson is a coward. You see, Tucker Carlson, a few weeks back, had on Candace Owens to treat her to his usual ideological laundering services. That's after years of Candace Owens saying things like this.
And it is the case that dinosaur bones, for whatever reason, are always just found by the paleontologist. Like, it's not like you and me walking outside. I'm like, hey, a dinosaur bone. And, or by somebody who's related to a paleontologist. It's very strange. And then, but it was just convenient for Israel that JFK got shot. It was just convenient, you guys. Totally convenient. It was convenient for Israel, by the way, when the towers went down.
I just want to be clear. Anything happens to me, blame the Zionists. Like 1000% blame the Zionists. Like let that be my parting word.
I'm waking people up to the fact that pedophiles are in power. Yes. They are literally in power. And that is intentional because then they can be controlled while they are in power. And they are also exhibiting signs of a psychopathology that lets them know that they will do harm to the masses and feel nothing because they were themselves, many of them, raped when they were children. Yep. It's not a coincidence that Justin Trudeau is gay. Obama, gay. Zelensky, gay. Emmanuel Macron, gay and married to a trans man who molested him when he was a child.
Well, Candace Owens had recently hosted Nick Fuentes, and this led Tucker Carlson, in an attempt to dissociate from Fuentes, to label him a weird little gay kid operating from a basement, and a Fed as well.
That's obvious to me. I've been around a long time. I know it when I see it.
Yeah, and I will say I don't understand it. We were very kind to him. Like I truly, like we almost said, like we felt maybe he was a bit lonely. We should invite him back for dinner. I mean, that's how good of an experience I had.
It's clearly.
And then it was a 180. So it's either A, it's being driven from like a little boy insecurity, and he just was so worried that he like just went on the attack because he doesn't know how to have normal relations after being banned everywhere.
Well, I think there's that could
be one element.
The angry gay kid thing going on. Yeah.
Well, Nick Fuentes did not take kindly to this. After all, here was Tucker Carlson, a man Nick Fuentes correctly sees as a fellow traveler, dismissing him, all the while refusing to say the sorts of things for which Fuentes takes slings and arrows. And so Fuentes unleashed on him as a fraud and also as an expert on gaslighting.
Tucker is like the goat of gaslighting. But unironically, he goes up at the memorial and said, Charlie Kirk told the truth. You know who else told the truth? Jesus. And you know what happened? He got killed by Jews. And people said, so are you saying that the Jews killed Charlie Kirk in the way that they killed Jesus for telling the truth because they hate the truth? And Tucker said, I never said that. You're crazy. I never said that. Everyone eats hummus. What do you mean everyone runs Jerusalem? But I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Tucker Carlson says, I have so many trust funds, I never have to work. Tucker went to a $45,000 per year private high school, then a $45,000 per year selective Ivy League school in New England. Tucker Carlson's daddy was a Reagan appointee. And then, after years of bragging about being an elite, bragging about being so out of touch and so rich, now he's going to be the spokesperson for all the white people. Now he's going to roll up his sleeves. I just like to hunt and fish in my log cabin. I care about Klarna and credit card debt. But then when it comes to me, I'm one of the real disaffected white people. You want to talk about me and them? I am them.
Well, there was one big problem for Tucker Carlson in all of this. Nick Fuentes is absolutely 100% correct. Tucker is a coward, and Tucker's audience, much of which he shares with Nick Fuentes, knows it. And so Tucker hit upon a final stratagem. He let Nick Fuentes cuck him. He brought Nick Fuentes on to legitimate his ideology. He signal boosted Fuentes, glossed him, shined him, presented him to the world, all in order to protect his own reputation with his online base, a base he is competing over with Nick Fuentes. Now, of course, Tucker has a right to do all of this for the 100th time. He can do what he likes. This is America. But there's no question that Tucker has become the most virulent super spreader of vile ideas in America. And the rest of us who oppose those vile ideas have every right to call him that. There is one other element here that's even darker if possible. Tucker Carlson preys on the friendship he proclaims with others, and then he knifes them directly between the shoulder blades when convenient for him. Tucker Carlson is, in short, a terrible friend. Tucker Carlson was supposedly Charlie Kirk's friend. Charlie believed that Nick Fuentes was vermin. That's a direct quote. He believed that because Nick Fuentes dedicated his life to destroying Charlie Kirk and TPUSA from the inside. In fact, here's Nick Fuentes describing Charlie Kirk the month before Charlie was murdered.
Charlie Kirk cannot call himself a Christian anymore. Sorry, you forfeited that. I do not want to hear, and you cannot allow Charlie Kirk to go to one more public event, one more question and answer, one more ask me anything, without being protested, without being shouted down, without being interrogated about this. This guy goes around from campus to campus in the most artificial and phony and fake way.
And here is Nick Fuentes describing how he destroyed TPUSA from the inside.
Whether he chooses to confront me or not, whether he has dignity and honor or not, it's just a matter of time. My ideas are already there. I've already impregnated your organization. I took Turning Point USA and I fucked it.
Yes, that's what Nick had to say, okay? You know how it is over in this platform. So he said all that, but I think, I forwarded that part, okay? Watch this.
The Groypers. That's why your whole crew, that's why the people around you, that's why your chapter presidents, that's why your attendees, they're all Groypers.
And here's Nick Fuentes calling Charlie Kirk unpatriotic and talking about how he's a retarded idiot and saying all.
So you can see, so this is Ben Shapiro laying out the reasons as all these other things that Nick Fuentes has done and said publicly available. So how can Tucker have Nick Fuentes on his program and failed to ask any questions relating to all these other things? The same Tucker Carlson who has platformed everybody else and asked them tough questions. You see what I'm saying? So like, you know what? Yes, it's fair. So these people run about, say like, oh, you know what? You want Nick Fuentes to be canceled. Why are you canceling Nick Fuentes and everything else? Like, no, it's freedom of speech. If people want to have Nick Fuentes, let them have Nick Fuentes. But at the bare minimum, you have to talk about the issues. At the bare minimum, you need to put his feet to the fire and let him respond. If he's changed his views, if he's changed his mind, if he has apologized, if he's walking back, he should be able to say that. But if he had him on and he didn't say anything, even to me, when I saw that, I'm like, no. Tucker was embarrassed by Nick Fuentes because Nick Fuentes took Tucker Carlson to task. So he just realized, you know what? I won't be able to fight this young man. Let me just bring him in. Because Nick Fuentes has vowed, okay, with his groypers, it's going to be America first. And if nothing pleases him the way he wants it, he's going to come after everybody. And he's already sent a warning shot to the vice president. Because you'd be like, okay, you want to run in 2028, you better toe the line. If you don't, we'll make sure that you lose. And they don't care. And he means business when it comes to that. So to me, and, you know, all the stuff that, okay, he said about Charlie Kirk, and you have Tucker Carlson being platformed, you know, Turning Point USA, which is fine. That's what they want to do, right? But it's just like, okay, this is going to be a crash. Because it looks like there's a vacuum. Everybody's trying to fill the void of Charlie Kirk, okay? So Tucker Carlson is right there. And then, you know, like, you know, the Jewish donors and everything else, the opposite that is happening. So it'll be a very, very interesting thing to what? To see. So while all this was happening, we have the president, okay, of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, came out and defended Tucker Carlson for platforming Nick Fuentes, for hosting Nick Fuentes, okay? So let's watch what he said and how quickly he walked these remarks back and other people being fired. I'm just like, you guys, you either have principles or you don't. Hold to something. That way, if people are for it or against for it, it's just the same. But take a look at Kevin Roberts, what he said over here. All right, here we go. Where are you, Mr. Roberts?
On this in the coming days. But today I want to be clear about one thing. Christians can critique the state of Israel without being anti-Semitic. And of course, anti-Semitism should be condemned. My loyalty as a Christian and as an American is to Christ first and to America always. When it serves the interests of the United States to cooperate with Israel and other allies, we should do so, with partnerships on security, intelligence, and technology. But when it doesn't, conservatives should feel no obligation to reflexively support any foreign government, no matter how loud the pressure becomes from the globalist class or from their mouthpieces in Washington. The Heritage Foundation didn't become the intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians. And we won't start doing that now. We don't take direction from comments on X, though we are grateful for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains, and as I have said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right. I disagree with, and even abhor, things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either. When we disagree with a person's thoughts and opinions, we challenge those ideas in debate. And we have seen success in this approach as we continue to dismantle the vile ideas of the left. As my friend Vice President Vance said last night, what I am not okay with is any country coming before the interest of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we are American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's where our allegiance lies, and that's where it will stay.
Okay, so that was the president of the Heritage Foundation, okay, coming full force in defending Tucker Carlson. But that did not last long because he was interviewed by Dana Roach. So you can see how he looked over there, poised, the whole 9 yards, and here he is, okay, being asked questions, and this did not go well. Take a look at this. Here we go, guys.
people feel confusion because they feel as though their criticisms, which seem to be scripturally based, are being maligned as the division that is being sown, or that's what is being described as venomous. And I think a lot of individuals find that hard to reconcile, especially when it's said in defense of someone who would say that they hate Christian Zionists, or they hate people like Mike Huckabee or Ted Cruz because they support Israel as a U.S. ally. Why doesn't that description go both ways?
That description can go both ways. What we're trying to do is eliminate that kind of venom both directions.
Is it venomous to say that you hate Christian Zionists?
Oh, of course it is. I've been really clear, not just yesterday and today, but my entire career, that and the Heritage certainly has in its entire existence, that those kinds of things are just abhorrent. I said that literally yesterday.
Because Tucker said those things. So that would be, is that not sowing division?
It's certainly not helpful, but it doesn't mean that he ought to be canceled, because if in fact
that's not the question. It's not whether he should be canceled. Is that sowing division to say things like that?
Oh, it's certainly in a lot of our friends' minds. But the point.
But you didn't put that in your statement, though.
Because the proximity or the context for the statement was something very different. And that was, as we were talking about a few minutes ago, all of the pressure that Heritage was receiving to cancel Tucker, which is just not, we wouldn't do that to you. We wouldn't do that to him. We wouldn't do it to friends who have other ideas, because ultimately what that looks like is sort of the purges of the French or Russian Revolution. And we get a
right. And I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't disagree with you necessarily in terms of, in terms of some of the comparisons, but what you call cancellation, I saw people trying to have some accountability and say, well, this seems like this only goes one way. Heritage put out a statement calling everyone who criticizes this, venomous and sowing division, but yet they were silent when, there was criticism of Ben Shapiro, accusing him of basically being an agent of Israel, or going after Mark Levin for something similar, or going after Mike Huckabee or Ted Cruz. And so how is that not canceling of those individuals, but criticism of the way Tucker handled his interview consideed cancellation? That seems entirely hypocritical.
What Tucker does. Heritage.
But I'm talking about your statement, though, that you released.
No, which I was about to address.
Go ahead, sorry.
Heritage was not engaged in those comments about those people. I don't support those comments for those other friends in the movement. But the key point is, even in spite of that, it doesn't mean that we were going to call for the cancellation of Tucker. We're not going to call for the cancellation of anybody. We think that's ultimately counterproductive to the conversation that we need to have.
So I thought it's a really weak interview.
Yes. So you see how Kevin changed his tone real quick and real fast. Okay, real quick and real fast. No, you put out a video, and first of all, he didn't even have to do that. He didn't even have to say anything, because Tucker Carlson was not interviewing Nick Fuentes under the banner of Heritage Foundation. Tucker Carlson was not interviewing Nick Fuentes with the blessings of the Heritage Foundation. He could have just, let Tucker do whatever else he was doing, but the Heritage Foundation decided on his own, Kevin Roberts, like, you know what? Let me say something over here, okay? Let me come for my boy Tucker. He didn't even have to do that. The people came after Tucker because the interview, like, you gave Nick Fuentes a softball interview. It wasn't about you canceling Nick Fuentes. So, but they're framing this issue as, oh, so you want Nick Fuentes to be canceled. No. Have Nick Fuentes on and interview. Nick Fuentes had Candace on. Candace had Nick Fuentes on. I didn't hear anybody saying, what's her name? Candace Owens should be canceled for interviewing Nick Fuentes. In fact, she did press him on the issues, and Nick Fuentes was even mad at Candace Owens. You know what I mean? Said, no, that was a hostile interview and everything else. So just again, if you want to have Nick Fuentes on your platform, don't pretend like his ideas are not out in the public. You know what I mean? If you agree with him, agree with him. If you don't, then at least ask those questions, right? Because that was the issue that was in the domain. So yes. So somebody, let's see, because there was even apparently there are letters that are going out within the organization, this Heritage Foundation. People are getting fired, or they are, asking for people to get fired, like that, to that effect. So let me not even go into that, because what I heard allegedly, okay, I should say that the person who wrote the statement that Kevin Roberts read publicly, that's public available, was fired. So to me, I'm like, okay, why would he be fired? Because that was recorded. Kevin knew what he was reading. So why would you fire the person? You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. apparently there's other people who have just quit because of what Kevin Roberts did. Like, okay, how are you gonna come here and endorse defending Tucker Carlson with what he did? So they walked away. So it looks like now Kevin Roberts is on tour to correct the record, because it looks like donors are like, no, we are pulling out. Either you have to go. So it looks like his job is also being threatened. So yes, guys, there is civil war dangling happening around this MAGA movement. And there's a lot, you know how it is like in DC's politics, okay? Politics. So, okay, yeah, here it is. Oh, it's so tiny, I won't be able to read it, but I'll just show it to you, okay? So this is what they're saying, okay? It says, Dana, it says, speaking of counseling, the head of a think tank is sending out emails back channel ordering people to not hire or associate with those criticizing the Fuentes interview fallout. And this is the email out here. Apparently, it's also even being sent to lawmakers as well. So clearly, there is a movement that's happening inside the MAGA, okay? And if that is not all, guys, if you can believe it, you have to be sitting down for this one. We have my MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, made an appearance, guys. Guess where? Marjorie Taylor Greene on The View. So the idea, this issue, like, wait a minute. The MAGA is unraveling. Watch this. Okay. Oh.
There's a lot of paid. I think there's a lot of paid social media influencers. And I found it very interesting that they were the MAGA accounts, but they're all paid, and they all attacked me when I announced I was coming to join you ladies on The View. And I think that's very weak and pathetic. But when I talk about weak Republican men, I'm pretty much talking oftentimes about the leadership in the House and the Senate, and they're not getting our agenda done.
You just have to laugh. Okay. So that's shots fired against the Speaker of the House, obviously, because, he's the one who is in leadership. So who else would Marjorie? What does she mean by weak leadership, right? So just like, all right, fine. They call him MAGA Mike Johnson. The leftists out there. You've been warned. So I thought that was funny. Like, wait a minute. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene going to The View. Things are not good. All right. So I like what this young man said as far as this issue going on, okay? So let's watch the shortcut.
Raging right now on the conservative right in America. It's all about whether it's cancel culture to call out people on your own side. It started after Tucker Carlson's interview with Nick Fuentes, a man who's openly praised Hitler, mocked Jews, and peddled hate. Tucker gave him a soft, fawning, unchallenging interview, unlike Tucker's interview with, say, Ted Cruz. And when conservatives criticised that, suddenly the cry from other conservatives went, oh, here we go again, cancel culture. But hang on, why is it free speech when Tucker speaks, but not free speech when people criticise him? You can't have it both ways. This isn't cancel culture, it's moral clarity. Politics is supposed to be about values, about truth, right and wrong. If you can't call out bad values when they come from your own side, then what exactly are you defending? And honestly, what are we even saying? That no matter what someone says, no matter how evil an idea may be, if they're on your side, you must stay silent. Come on. That's not loyalty, that's moral blindness. And let's be clear, calling someone out isn't the same as cancelling them. It doesn't mean banishing them from public life. It just means saying, those ideas are wrong. That behaviour is beneath the standard we should expect. That's not censorship, that's accountability. That's what a healthy culture does. If your definition of cancel culture is criticising someone I like, then what you really want isn't free speech, it's immunity from criticism. Accountability isn't cancellation. Condemnation isn't censorship. It's the immune system of a moral society. Because if we only defend truth when it's convenient, we don't actually believe in it. So no, denouncing evil isn't cancel culture, it's integrity. So
Yeah, so I thought that was yes, I think he was spot on. So yeah, if somebody says something like, yeah, just do it. But the problem is this idea, the issue of no enemies to the right. Okay? So when you have this issue, no enemies to the right, this is exactly what happens. Because there's some sins, a little leaven leavens the whole lump, right? If there's a sin in the camp, it needs to be purged, needs to be called out. But it's so easier to call out the left outside, but not inside. So it makes those people to be hypocrites. So what is your allegiance? Is it to truth or to, or quote unquote to MAGA? You see what I'm saying? So this is also the problem that's happening amongst Christians. There are people who are conservatives, but they're not Christians. So they're going to operate differently according to their worldview. But if you're a Christian, you cannot compromise on your Christian values because your politics don't come first, right? Your doctrine, your theology, your allegiance to Christ must inform your politics, right? It's theology and then politics. No politics and then theology. It's the other way around. These are the things that are happening because people will be like, okay, for cultural inconvenience, because this is good for the moment, this is good for the culture, most people are finding themselves compromising. So much so like, okay, wait a minute. So this person said this. Do you agree this is wrong according to biblical standard? Just say, yes, it is wrong and just move on. But they can't say that because to them, if they say that, oh, you know what? We're going to give a win to the left. You know what I mean? So long as they are owning the libs, they are willing to let some of these things go unchecked within the camp. So that's why, Ben Shapiro has come hard against Tucker Carlson. So you have, Ben Shapiro, Babylon B CEO, Seth Dillon. You have Officer Tater. Then you have, the Tucker Carlson on the other side. Candace Owens on the other side. Nick Fuentes on the other side. I mean, it's a mess, okay? It's absolutely a mess. So take a look at this, how Ben Shapiro summarized all this, okay? Go.
Well, firepower should be focused on Charlie Kirk.
I think a lot of people are starting to find out Charlie Kirk is not the patriot that he says he is. And so I look at what happened last night and I think to myself, this is totally a doable operation. Charlie Kirk in the grand scheme of things is just some retarded idiot. The dog is terrified. I had to go upstairs and reassure him because I'm screaming at my screen, calling Charlie Kirk a bitch and everything. The contrast could not be more clear. Charlie Kirk is a totally unexceptional human being. A moral struggle that's happening on the higher dimension, right? Which is Christ versus the devil. Who does Charlie Kirk serve? Is he really a Christian? Is he really Christ-like when he supports foreign wars and Israel and all this? Look at the people he's taking money from. So the guy's a fake Christian. The guy's not a patriot. He hates our country. He's un-American. Let's focus all our firepower on Charlie Kirk. Why are we doing this? It's because Charlie Kirk is a fake patriot, a fake Christian, and he hates his people. He's anti-white. And this is our angle.
Nick Fuentes despised Charlie Kirk. And for good reason, because Charlie Kirk actually opposed Nick's evil program. Here's what Charlie Kirk had to say about Nick Fuentes' agenda.
But if you go back to the original founding fathers, they intended this to be a European nation for white men of good stock and character.
So, can you show me, let me answer the question. Can you show me where in the United States Constitution it says that?
It wasn't in the Constitution.
It wasn't in the Constitution because they didn't believe it. What does the phrase e pluribus unum mean? What does the phrase e pluribus unum mean?
Why is that relevant?
Because it was on every founding document and presidential seal from our founding, which means out of many, one. You, sir, and your ideology is not conservative. It is right-wing, identitarian, and has no place in the conservative movement, my friend. Get out of line. Get out of line. I don't platform troll. Discuss people, or I don't debate with people that are not good faith actors. And you debate Maoists and people who champion. They can keep on yelling at how successful we are and our big events and well over 1,000 employees, but a lot of jealousy out there. We build, they complain. We succeed, we win. They blame the Jews.
After Charlie's death, CPUSA made Tucker.
Yes, so it's no secret. Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk, they did not see eye to eye. They were different. So obviously, that guy must have been a groper because they used to go to Charlie Kirk's event and try to trip him off, asking him, different questions and everything. So now these people are looking like, okay, so now all of a sudden, these people surrounded Tucker Carlson, Tucker Carlson is surrounding with the people that Charlie didn't like, and then he wants to, be closely associated with Turning Point USA. So I don't know how that's going to be resolved. But Tucker Carlson issued an apology. Okay, so watch this. So we have to bring in this what he said, and now he's issuing an apology. So take a look at this. Okay, all right.
You mentioned you don't trigger me.
Yeah, so I don't know what you make of that. Obviously they added the video to it. Was it a genuine apology or it was just whatever? Who knows? But those are the things that have transpired. All right, guys. I am so glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, let's take a listen to none other than Mrs. Farmer. Lady Candace, she's not done, okay? More and more evidence is coming out, according to her. So what is she up to this time around? Well, Candace, when you have the evidence, please present the evidence to us, okay? Would love to see this evidence, okay? About time that she shows us the evidence. So let's go to her and take a listen. I'll be stopping it along the way, okay? So switching gears over here to Mrs. Farmer. All right. I need to share the video with you guys. All right, here we go. This is Candace on her investigation journey, okay? Find out what happened to Charlie. Here we go.
In order for you to show that you're a good friend of somebody, you have to agree not to host people on your platform from conversations is just so anti-Charlie. It's unbelievable. It is disrespectful really to his legacy. And it is simply a fact, which I feel comfortable sharing now, that Charlie and Ben Shapiro did not get along because Charlie found out that Ben was operating behind the scenes to stop him and sort of hinder the growth of Turning Point USA in our early days, right? When we were kind of coming up together, me and Charlie as partners getting out there. And I have only about 80 to 150 text messages from Charlie to that effect. This is not a debate, by the way. This is a fact. So challenge me to share the messages. I will gladly. Now, when Charlie tried to figure out where the sudden hostility was coming from, because he at first admired Ben, like I admired Ben. Actually, Charlie was the one that told me you should watch Ben debate videos so you can strengthen your debate skills. The next thing we knew, we were hearing that he was trying to block us. And they had a conversation. Ben told Charlie, again, this is according to my messages with Charlie, that Ben was in part upset because I made a joke about him, a literal lighthearted joke, when I appeared on Joe Rogan back in 2018. Do we have that clip, Skylar? We can roll that.
Like, I can't take anything seriously anymore. So,
well, there's things to be taken seriously, but celebrities probably aren't on that list.
Yeah, it's
so
hard.
Ben Shapiro's right.
Yeah, no, well, he's right about this.
Yeah.
But he was like trying to correlate like what Kim did, like with Alex Marie Johnson, with like that, and I'm like, come on, man, that's like totally different. And just in general, like sometimes he just gets a little like hall monitor for me, like it's just like
well, he can't help himself.
I know
he's a funny guy. He's very snarky. I like him a lot.
I like him too. That's the thing. It's like we actually really get along, but like the hall monitor, like, I know these types in school. Like I was in their classes, like they're just like. You're like late to school, and like the last person you want to see is like the hall monitor, like the idea that she would be late, right?
Yeah.
Like he's like writing you a pink slip. It's like, Ben, just give me the pink slip, dude. Like that just give it to me, Ben. All right, this is a gateway to Saturday school. Like it's just like
that's a good impression of him.
Lighthearted joke, but specifically Ben said to Charlie that he was upset about that and that Candace, was going to Milo my career if Charlie didn't get away from me. Now, obviously, the story goes, Charlie stuck with me despite Ben's urging. We kept climbing. We reached a point where as a team, Charlie and I were suddenly undeniable. Some producer in June of 2018 then reached out to us to book us on Ben's show. And honestly, I'm so glad they did this because in retrospect, it's actually one of my favorite Charlie memories because it just makes me smile to reflect on. Because Charlie, he was never mean-spirited. He always was just funny. He always chose humor, lighthearted humor, to get over any situation. He was never a person that wheeled and dealed behind the scenes to prevent other people from becoming successful. It just wasn't in him, right? He wasn't vengeful. Vengeance is actually kind of the vice that I've had to work on a lot, but Charlie's perspective was just laugh and move on. Anyway, the story goes, we get the invite to be on Ben Shapiro's show, and I'm like, no, F that. He was so awful to us. He said this about me miloing my career. We should not do his show. Like, why would we do his show? And Charlie's like, no, it's great. Let's do it because we won. Okay, we won, Candace. And I'm like, okay, fine. We get to the location. I think it was in Sherman Oaks, California at that time. And Charlie says to me, we're in the green room, hey, will we take a photo with him? I'm going to puff my chest out and stand extra tall So we never forget this moment of us having triumphed over Ben Shapiro. And he actually does it, and it was completely hilarious. And this is actually the photo from that. Charlie did that totally on purpose. It was such a Charlie Kirk thing to do, and it became like our perfect inside joke every time we felt like he was kind of saying little things about us. And that was Charlie. That was the spirit of Charlie. And he moved on from it. He was always cordial beyond that. He never felt any nastiness. The point of me sharing this, though, is to make it very clear that Charlie loved Tucker. I can go through all my messages with Charlie, and he loved Tucker. Not for a single second did he not admire and respect and greatly appreciate Tucker. And he fought for Tucker to be on the turning point stage until his dying day, literally. Charlie was not in love with Ben Shapiro. He didn't hate Ben Shapiro. He just...
So, once again, she's back at it, Candace Owens, right? Ben Shapiro is coming after Tucker Carlson because Tucker Carlson did not push back on Nick Fuentes. That's what happened. Had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. The stuff that's publicly available as far as Charlie Kirk is concerned, him and Nick Fuentes did not see eye to eye. That is a matter of public record. Okay? Charlie Kirk did platform Tucker Carlson. That's actually true. So why is she trying to portray that Tucker, like, almost insinuating that Ben is leveling, saying that what's his name? Charlie Kirk did not like Tucker Carlson. That's not Ben's argument. Ben's argument is Charlie Kirk did not like Nick Fuentes. So if Tucker Carlson is going to be out here, whatever, spearheading, turning point, whatever else is going on, why are you entertaining, quote unquote, Charlie Kirk's enemies? You know what I mean? That's a fair point. So Candace Owens says that, Ben was this, Ben was that, right? Trying to push them down when they were at Turning Point USA when she was there in 2018. All those things happened. Do you know what happened? Candace still went on to go work for Ben Shapiro. So that shows that this woman, whatever she's looking for, is actually a lie. Because if she believed that Ben was trying to, derail them, was bad-mouthing them, trying to make sure that they don't rise up to the top, why did she agree to go and work for Ben Shapiro at TheWrap? If she believed that Ben was all the things that she's saying right now. So that's how you see that, you know what? No, Candace, no, it's not a secret. Everybody knows. Candace and Ben Shapiro, they do not see eye to eye. Okay? They do not see eye to eye. But for her to come to say all these other things like, Tucker, Ben didn't, what's his name? Charlie Kirk did not like Ben Shapiro and all these other things. How come she never said that when Charlie Kirk was alive? Why are you only saying that now? You ended up working for Ben Shapiro. So for you to say that, okay, he wasn't a good person and everything, why did you agree to work for him? You left Turning Point, you went to Prega, you left there, you went to go work for TheWrap. You could have easily said no, but you still went. So for her to come out to be saying all this, if you ask me, this does not hold any water. It just shows like, oh no. Right now, anything that she can find to power against the Shapiros, she will absolutely do it. After all, this is Candace. Okay? Let's watch a little bit more.
Just, I would say, experienced Ben Shapiro. We all get the Ben Shapiro experience at some point. Despite this, he always, as I said, kept it cordial because that's who he was as a person. But what I will not allow is this absolute inversion of reality where Ben Shapiro becomes any sort of voice on who is and who is not betraying their friendship with Charlie. I will not allow it. Like I said, everybody has a vice. And when I reflect on Charlie's, it is probably that he associated success and growth with money. And I believe that that is probably the conduit for the snakes that got into his company, got into the donor base, whatever it is. Me, I don't suffer from that vice. I don't care about money. I would gladly, as you have seen me do, burn it all to the ground to get out one modicum of truth. And
where have we seen that about you, Candace Owens? That Candace Owens, she does not care about money, that she's willing to burn it all to the ground. No, she's willing to burn Turning Point USA to the ground. Because she cannot have Turning Point, nobody else will have it. But as far as when it comes to money, where is that story about Candace Owens willing to burn it all to the ground? No, I don't believe that part. Yes, Charlie Kirk did build a big tent over there. And that's the problem. When you build a big tent, you have to manage all those personalities. And the organization was donor funded. So when the donors are funding you, you are going to be singing their tune. That's just how it works. But for Candace to say that she's willing to bend it all to the ground, I don't believe that at all. Okay? I do not believe that at all. This lady is out there. She put her career, she says she's taking her career to prove that Brigitte Macron is not a woman. Now, behind the scenes, she's moving for that case to be dismissed. Why are you moving for the case to be dismissed? You told your audience you're willing to stake your career on it and you want to go to trial. So no, the Macrons are not playing. They are actually demanding a jury trial. But she's out here behind the scenes wanting, like, that case should just quietly go away. And no, they're coming for her. All right, let's watch.
And if you'd like to hear something else that happens to be true, in the immediate aftermath of Charlie's death, people that were extremely close to Charlie, including donors, were very touched by a monologue that Matt Walsh did over on the Daily Wire. I didn't see it. I was too aggrieved to watch anything, but apparently Matt Walsh did an amazing monologue. So the team reached out to host Matt Walsh, to ask Matt Walsh, rather, to host Charlie Kirk's show because they wanted to keep it going. And they were told that that was not allowed to happen unless Ben Shapiro was also invited. And in the true spirit of Charlie Kirk, Turning Point cordially accepted those posthumous terms. Anyways, those are the facts. Turning my attention to another matter.
Yeah, so why would that, maybe there's something in Matt Walsh's contract that if he's under a Daily Wire, he cannot go anywhere else to do a podcast unless there is a representative from Daily Wire. It could be, because I just don't see why, if Matt Walsh is free to do that, that Ben would want to tag along. And if Matt Walsh didn't want Ben to tag along, you're telling me Matt Walsh is not able enough to say, no, Ben, you know what I mean? I don't know, because she says, like, okay, she's hate that or whatever. There's got to be more to that issue, okay? Because like, if you're inviting Matt Walsh and Matt Walsh cannot come unless Ben Shapiro comes, why can those people just say, like, you know what, then we might as well not have you, you know? But besides all that, right? How come she hasn't been invited to go and speak on Turning Point USA platform? After all, she was the best friends to Charlie Kirk. Okay? So Candace, you were the best friends to Charlie Kirk. All these other people, the ones you're saying they're not close to Charlie Kirk, they have made appearances on the Charlie Kirk show. Candace Owens has not made any appearance on the Charlie Kirk show. Ben Shapiro has. So I don't understand why she'll bring that up, okay? So that even now, we know the next person, oh, and by the way, this is, what's his name, always refers to himself as Tucker, Candace Owens' brother, okay? This is Candace Owens' brother on Turning Point USA. Brandon, okay? So listen to what he said over here. My message is, how come you cannot say these things to Candace Owens? Watch this.
Grace because a lot of people out there are not investigators. They don't have a law enforcement background, and they love Charlie, and they want to get truth. They want to get justice. So I do have a lot of grace. I understand why there's distrust, but please, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. This stuff is very simple. All you have to do is have some type of experience like I do. I was trained on investigating. I investigated crimes myself. I testified in court. And you have that, plus you have wisdom, and you're reasonable, and you believe in God. So then you have godly wisdom in how you should articulate or put out information or disseminate information to the people that God is giving you that follows you. And like you said, Andrew, I understand that people are hurting and people are looking for answers and people don't know what they're talking about a lot of the times, and they're doing it in good faith, but they're just lost. It's like almost every police shooting that I cover. A lot of people don't understand use of force policy. They don't understand the law. They don't understand how the law is prosecuted. And so they are off on it, even though they have good intentions. Now, there's a difference between someone who's off on it in good faith with good intentions versus someone who know better and just out there spewing hatred and stupidity because they want to get clicks and subscribers and make money off of it. That is the difference. That is the difference between the anger point for me, is that if somebody just don't know, I get it. I mean, people don't understand investigations, but then people who should know better that's saying it is the ones that bother me the most. This stuff is very simple. You're like, if you really want to know what's going on in the case as a civilian person, right? We don't have access to records that they've submitted to court. We don't have text messages. We haven't, none of these people that are out here talking has interviewed anybody, witnesses, suspects, parents. They have no evidence. They didn't look at forensics, so they have no idea what they're talking about. However, if you, as a civilian person, if you want to know or get a synopsis of what could happen and what evidence they may have, read the affidavit. Read the probable cause statement that was submitted to court. When you write a probable cause statement as a law enforcement agency, you cannot lie or deceive or put information in that's not true. Because when you get to trial and they have the initial hearing, if you don't have evidence to what you've said, which you've sworn under penalty of perjury, that is true, your case is completely thrown out. And you cannot convince me somebody like Kesh Patel and those guys are willing to throw away their entire career and legacy to botch the most important case of our lifetime.
Well, tell that to Candace, Officer Tatum, because who is out here talking about the conspiracy theories about Kesh Patel this, the FBI this, the military, the Egyptians, the plane, Bibi, the Trumps, you name it. Okay, is there anybody who hasn't been accused? Only Brandon hasn't been accused, okay? So far, Officer Tatum has not been implicated, but everybody else and their mama, Candace always has implicated them that they had something to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk, with zero evidence, of course, okay? So just like, okay, no, you know what I mean? If that is the case, no. But you see over there, who do you have? Officer Tatum made it to what? To Turning Point USA, made their appearance. How come Candace Owens has not been invited to go and appear at Turning Point USA? So the other person who made the appearance at Turning Point USA, none other than Ali Bestake, okay? So watch this.
That feminism has failed women. Second one, are you ready? Are you ready? Porn has weakened men. And you know, Charlie was so good at talking about this and so good at talking so courageously and sternly and clearly to the young men. Here's what we know about porn and why it is so detrimental, not only to men, although it disproportionately affects men. Porn objectifies women and children. It commercializes sex, which is a gift from God for a married couple between one man and one woman, and it glorifies violence. It creates addiction and shame. It destroys marriages. It ruins your perception of other people. It is the legal loophole for sex trafficking. It is evil in every way, and it will destroy your life. And this is what I would want to say to men, and I hope that you hear it from strong men in your life, that men, we need you. And we need your masculinity, and we need your strength, and we need your boldness, and we need your courage, and we need those things to be harnessed for good. We need you to be solid pastors. We need you to be strong leaders. We need your voice. We need you to bravely stand up for the most vulnerable, to stand up for women and children and for the unborn, to raise a respectful ruckus for the things that matter. We need really strong men, and porn makes you weak.
So that was Ali Bestake at Turning Point USA. So it looks like everybody has made their appearance on Turning Point USA but Candace Owens. Okay? So wait a minute. Where is your invitation, Candace, when you're coming after this? So after that clip over there, okay, I got into it on Twitter. Yes, your girl got in trouble on Twitter, okay, with this girl here. What's her name? This is Lyra Gins. Okay? So you can see her picture over here. This was the calendar picture in her bikini. So this is what she posted. Okay? I'll read it to you guys so you can see. So this is Lyra Gins here. It says, you know, if you're a man who feels offended by this, there's a good chance you are exactly the kind of man she's talking about. So this is Lyra Gins responding to what Ali Bestake just said, okay, about corn and men. So I asked a question to her. If you agree with what Ali said, with what the message, if you agree with Ali, what message are you sending with these pics? Okay, so these are her pictures right here. So Lyra proclaims to be a Christian. Okay, she's a Christian and she's married. So if you're going to be out here, be like, okay, yes, we don't want men to be involved in corn and all those other things. I say yes and amen. But doesn't that even undercut her own message when she's out here with pictures like that? You see what I'm saying? So just like, you know what? No, as there's a lot of compromised Christians in the public square, especially in Christian influencers, so that they don't want to be their food to be put to the fire. Okay? She took pictures, and those pictures were on a calendar. That's a public record that everybody is going to be saying. It just stays there. This is not like, okay, she was at the swimming pool, whatever, somebody. No, that's different. But she posed those pictures for a calendar. And if that is not all, where was she? She was at Malago, okay? There was a party there that was hosted, Gatsby, whatever party, with the Trumps. And this is like with who? Bruce Jenner. And as you can see, all dressed and everything else, all smiles right here. So once again, I say, did you call him Bruce or Caroline? Or is a fight just in swimming competitions? Where is discernment for Christian influencers? All right. So here's the thing. She was, everybody knows right against because she was fighting the trans that they shouldn't be competing in the women's sports. Yes, to that issue. Okay? I agree. But now you're out here with who? With Bruce Jenner, who is what? Who is now a woman. Okay? But we know that cannot happen, right? Because it's male and female. So you have no problem. Okay? Smiley, the whole 9 years with Bruce Jenner. You tell me if right against called him Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner. You see what I'm saying? What pronouns did she use? So this is the double standard these people have. You're going to fight this battle over here, but because you're out there, Bruce is all MAGA the whole 9 years, you're enjoying whatever at the party. No, the trans issue, it no longer applies because it's Bruce. Oh, and no, but Bruce was also against that trans men shouldn't be competing in sports. Yes, and I agree. But what happened to him? What happened to Bruce Jenner? So it's okay because Bruce Jenner did it, and it's not okay when other people do it. You know what I mean? This is man's standard. This is your opinion. That's why the scripture has got only one standard. It's male and female. Anything else that you're doing from there, if you're perverting it, it doesn't matter the people in your camp. It doesn't matter that these are red pill. It doesn't matter these people are inside MAGA. It's still wrong. But he's welcomed. What type of bathroom did he use while he was at Mar-a-Lago? But everybody else is out here. We don't want men in the women bathroom. Yes, I agree. What bathroom does Bruce uses? And already Trump had already said he's welcome to use the female bathrooms when he's at Trump Tower. So this is what's happening inside the influencers. It's the so-called Christian influencers. They leave their Christian card at the door. But when it's on the left, they do not hesitate. They do not hesitate. But when it's inside the camp, it's almost like it's non-existent. So I see that as a double standard. I absolutely see that as a double standard. So be like, no, that needs to be called out. Okay? We're going to stand on truth. And if these things are happening inside the camp, we should be bold to call it out. So here is Lady Candace. Even her audience are wondering, at what point is she going to make any remarks as it relates to Erica Kirk? Because stuff is coming out about Erica Kirk, but Candace Owens is just avoiding. So knowing the way she loves the conspiracy theory, accuse everybody else. I'm like, I don't even know why people are saying that. Like, no, she is accusing Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA CEO is Erica Kirk, okay? And she's done so much that's, implied. But I think she knows, like, okay, you know what? Let me not come out straightforward. I'm like, no, if you're listening, you'll be able to see. So she decided to address that issue, and here it is. Watch this.
In super chats asking me to address Erica Kirk. And I guess my question back would be, what is there for me to address? She hasn't sat down for a long interview. All we have seen from Erica has been the speech at the memorial event for Charlie Kirk. I see the innuendo that is online. I am interested in investigating who killed Charlie Kirk. And the people that I have been reserving my ire for, my smoke for, my investigation for are the people that are blatantly lying. Okay, people that are just lying about Charlie Kirk. That was my reason for going after Alex Clark. She lied about the Catholic thing. That was my reason for going after Andrew Colvett, Mikey McCoy. Anybody that's told a lie, Rob McCoy, blood all over him, you got my attention. What lie has Erica told that I'm supposed to be focused on? Okay, like, has she said something about, did she come out and say, Charlie never had an issue with Israel in the end? He loved Israel to his dying breath. She hasn't done that. She simply hasn't done that.
So this is how she takes advantage of her audience. Okay, what did Alex Clark said about Charlie Kirk as far as the Catholic is concerned? She never said anything. She asked Andrew Covert, was Charlie Kirk a Catholic? Okay, and Andrew Covert said no, Charlie Kirk wasn't a Catholic. He was attending mass. He was going to a Catholic church. He did like the aesthetics. That's what happened. So what was the reason why Candace Owens came after Alex Clark? Nothing. So for her to pretend that she's only coming after people who have said something is actually not true. Right now, she's on Mike McCoy bandwagon. What has Mike McCoy said as far as it relates to this incident? There's nothing. Mike McCoy hasn't done any interview. Mike McCoy hasn't spoken publicly. Nothing. Okay? His dad, Rob McCoy, is the one who said like, oh, Mike McCoy, my son called me. Okay? And it was Andrew Covert who did a program to say, no, Mike McCoy was a hero that day, right? He was doing some good work on that day. Mike McCoy hasn't said anything. Has that stopped Candace Owens to come after Mike McCoy? No. So it looks like Candace Owens is so ready to destroy this young man, this Mike McCoy, by any means necessary. Because it looks like, oh, wait a minute, you know what I mean? He might be having some favors inside Turning Point USA. So Candace Owens is out here one by one to destroy these people's reputation. That way, either Erica gets rid of them or they just get overwhelmed by outside ire, then they will just quit. Okay? So who else has she come? She's come against Andrew Covert. What lie has he shared? Okay, I'm not a fan of him. Okay, he was sharing the text message that ended up with Candace Owens, and the guy came out to acknowledge, yes, the text message that Candace Owens has, they're actually true. So what lie has he shared? But did that stop Candace Owens? No, it didn't. Oh, Donald Trump. What lie has he shared? Did that stop Candace Owens to come after Donald Trump? The Egyptians, do we know that? The Egyptians, BB, about the letter came out. So this is a lie. So even Candace Owens knows that Erica has so much support. She can come after everybody else, but the last person she is going to come after is going to be Erica Kirk. That she's not going to do it. So it's a lie that she's coming after people who have already said something. Because there's so many people who haven't even said anything. But Candace, has that stopped Candace to come after them? What did Frank Turek say? Nothing. Did he stop Candace Owens to come after him? So much so that he ended up responding, calling Candace Owens what? Candace Owens should just shut up. That was after she said a whole bunch of things. Didn't Candace Owens come after Leila Rose? Because Leila Rose's husband happens to be a military. And what did Leila Rose say anything about Charlie Kirk? Nothing. You see what I'm saying? So this is a lie. She's coming after everybody. So I was just like, no, Candace. Okay. I mean, a simple logic, a simple critical thinking, you know that this woman is making things up as she goes along this so-called investigation.
We have around the corner is a big interview that's going to be dropping this week. Erica Kirk sat down with Jesse Waters, and I can tell you, Charlie loved Jesse Waters. Jesse Waters gave us the most playtime on Fox News back in the beginning. That was the big show that we got to book, and so it's a good fit.
Hold on.
If she was sitting down with like Bibi Netanyahu's entourage, I might have something to say. But everything that she has done she's been having conversations with people who were actually friends with Charlie. Erica is also, I think, slated to join Megyn Kelly on tour. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure I saw that being teased. Charlie opened up to Megyn in the end. Megyn stood 10 toes down on telling the truth, which is why I deeply respect her for doing this, about the pressure that Charlie was under. And it was not easy for Megyn to do that, okay? She is still catching heat for the fact that she did that. So I feel like Erica is kind of sending a message here that she's not standing against the people that are telling the truth. I said early on, if Erica Kirk asks me to be quiet, I will be quiet. She didn't ask me to be quiet. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. A show on whether I like her hair, her outfits, that doesn't feel right. And also keep in mind, that is the mother of Charlie Kirk's children. I had a real relationship with Charlie Kirk, a real friendship with Charlie Kirk, and what is left of him in this world are his two small children. So to just take a baseless attack, if I catch her in a lie, it's a little different, but to just take an attack on her does not feel.
Isn't he attacking Mike McCoy, the son of Rob McCoy? Didn't he attack the Ivanka and Jared Kushner? And these not Donald Trump's children? So what is she talking about here? Candace Owens has attacked everybody but Erica Kirk. So for her to pretend, oh my God, just like Candace, come on, come on. And you're telling me, if Erica Kirk was to issue a statement today that Candace, I want you to shut it down, are you telling me Candace Owens is going to be like, yes, ma'am, I'll shut it down?
Appropriate to me. I haven't seen any reason to do that. So I'm looking forward to the sit down with Jesse Waters. I think we're going to get a lot more from Erica, and we're going to see where her mindset is. Currently, there is one clip that is going around, and I have some unsolicited advice for Erica, and I appreciate the sentiment of what she's saying here. Let's take a listen.
The defense wants to ban cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come.
So I agree with the sentiment, and I'm glad that she has pointed out how ridiculous it is to not want cameras into the courtroom, how ridiculous it is to allow him to appear virtually, not even on camera, for some pre-hearing matters. None of this makes any sense to the public. And what I did say early on, I don't remember which episode it was I would not have wanted Erica to, it would not have been my advice for Erica in a stage of grieving to go from being the widow to being the CEO and the chairman of the company. If I was running the company, I would have said, let's put in place an interim CEO, right? Someone.
No, Candace, she would have wanted that Erica points Candace Owens as the CEO, as an interim of Turning Point USA. I think that's what Candace Owens would have wanted. But yes, I do agree with Candace Owens, okay? Putting Erica Kirk so quick, so fast, as a CEO, literally, was it 2 days before, after her husband had died? I don't think that was a wise move to do. I agree with Candace Owens there, okay? But I don't think that Candace Owens is coming out of this out of goodness of her heart or just being sincere about it, okay? Because we know she's been working on the agenda. If she cannot have Turning Point USA, nobody else is going to have it. So right now, she wants to endear herself to Erica Kirk after all these other things that she has done. Okay? Mike McCoy was taking pictures of Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk. And now Candace Owens has an issue with that issue. Like, wait a minute. If Erica Kirk had an issue, she wouldn't have posted those pictures on her social media. Charlie Kirk wouldn't have approved that. So they were okay with it. But now Candace Owens has an issue. Why was Mike McCoy taking the pictures? Like, what do you care? He works for them. Okay, so this is where she's going. But as far as the cameras in the courtroom, okay, I don't think Candace Owens wants cameras to be in the courtroom, okay? Because when the defense is cross-examining the prosecutor with all the theory that Candace Owens has put out here, the conspiracy theory, the stuff that don't even make any sense at all, when they are showing the evidence in there, it's just going to disprove Candace Owens' theory left and right. So I'm surprised that she would want cameras to be in a courtroom, okay? I get it. Like, okay, as Erica should want cameras to be in a courtroom and everything, but remember, as a defense attorney, you absolutely do not want those cameras in the courtroom if you're there defending Tara Robinson, right? Because you want to do everything to the best interest of your client, okay? So, P. Diddy, there were no cameras in there, okay? So people are just hearing whatsoever. It makes a difference for them. So they absolutely do not want those cameras. They don't want those cameras to be in there. I can understand that as a defense. For us out here, oh yes, we want those cameras there. Because it will be like, Candace, when you said this is that, it'll be good. We want the cameras to be there, yeah. But also what happened, that's a courtroom, right? The things that happened, it was in a public domain. Yes, there were cameras everywhere, but the courtroom proceedings are different. It's not what happened outside. It's not about what you like and what you want, right? Because the case is the state of Utah against Tara Robinson. It's not Erica Kirk against Tara Robinson. You see what I mean? So Yeah, Candace, I'm like, you don't want cameras in there, Candy. I promise you. So let's see a little bit more from her.
Below Justin Strife, I think, was the COO. I would have put in an interim CEO and allowed people to figure things out. Because it is a true statement that there's two things happening here. There's a widow, and then there is the chairman and the CEO. And that person, no matter what, is going to have to catch heat for any decisions the business is making. That's just the reality of the way the world works. When you're a CEO and you're a boss, if a mistake is made, doesn't matter whether you did it, whether you said it, whether you tweeted it, it's going to come down on you. And she has assumed that role. Okay. So criticisms pertaining to anything at Turning Point USA that are being directed at Erica are fair. Obviously, they are fair if they are directed about Turning Point USA and their actions. The second thing that I would say, and again,
Candace Owens is correct here, guys. I do agree with her.
This is unsolicited advice, so she's free to throw it out. But in the entire issue and the energy right now is that people, irrespective of what's happening on paper, don't believe the story. They don't believe the story. And you are, and of course, this is only a snippet of the interview, so I'm sure more will be said here. But I'm getting that you have seen the case. You think it's a solid case. She thinks it's a solid case, at least, and is saying, show everybody what you have so they can see true evil. Within her capacity of chairman and CEO of Turning Point USA, they could be more transparent about what happened that day. People don't like the stuff that they've seen about Mikey McCoy. They don't like what they've seen about Rob McCoy. They don't like the history of Rob and Mikey McCoy and their involvement here. They don't like the video of Terrell. They don't believe what time text messages were sent or when the phone calls took place. Rob McCoy is lying. In the areas that you can control the
No, Candace, it's you who doesn't believe those things. And what does it matter what those people think or whatever they believe? The case is going to go to court. And Tyler Robinson is going to be judged, and the jury of his peers are going to bring down the verdict. That's how the system works. And if Erica Kirk believes the case, if Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, is happy with the evidence, is satisfied with who is Candace Owens to say otherwise? Who is Candace Owens to say otherwise? And who are these people, by the way? Who are these people? So why do you want Mike McCoy to be on trial? Mike McCoy was not charged. Mike McCoy was not charged. There isn't any crime that was charged against Mike McCoy. If Candace Owens has evidence that proves that Mike McCoy is guilty or something, has Candace Owens called the authorities? Has Candace Owens filed a police report? Has she done that? No. So what is she talking about? If Mike McCoy has committed a crime, Candace Owens needs to file a police report. We need to see a police report of it. The fact that you don't like Mike McCoy because he's close to the top, that's on you. That is on you. So all this, whatever she's doing, Candace Owens is not going to be invited at Turning Point USA. That's why she is advocating for Tucker Carlson. Because if Tucker Carlson finds his way inside Turning Point USA, yes, you'll be seeing Candace Owens over there. You know what I mean? I'm very suspicious about Tucker Carlson myself. Full disclosure, I've never liked Tucker Carlson. He doesn't strike me as a genuine person. He strikes me somebody who says something for the moment. And he knows how to capture the audience. So yes, Candace is going to go for this issue because he's hoping to find a way in there. The only way Candace Owens is going to find herself at Turning Point USA is if Tucker Carlson ends up being maybe on the board or something else over there. But if Erica Kirk is wise, he needs to keep that door closed. The tent is already big right now. They need to be doing some purging over there, if you ask me. Okay? So let's see her reasoning.
Transparency, I think doing that would be beneficial to Turning Point USA because I don't think Turning Point USA is going to survive if they continue down this path of, Tyler Boyer late night tweeting at donors as he did over the weekend. I think he directed his fire at John Mappin and Arena Mappin, called John Mappin a loser. I don't think that that's the correct messaging to come out of Turning Point USA. And there is something that my husband always says to me, and I don't know if he got it from somebody else, he probably did, but the expression is the market is always right. The market's always right. He says this about trading and things of that nature, meaning irrespective of what.
Yes, the market is always right. Last event, they filled out the arena to the capacity. So the market is right. They are supporting whatever is happening at Turning Point USA this far. Because every event they've sold out. They've had huge crowds over there. Okay? So you ask me, I would want Turning Point to come out and put to bed this issue that Charlie Kirk was a Catholic. the Catholic burial, the Catholic mass. I want them to respond. Okay, they haven't done so. So they're picking and choosing what they respond to. So I would also want them to say something about it. So Candace also wants something from Turning Point USA. Tyler Boyer, why? Candace wants Tyler Boyer to be fired. Mike McCoy, he wants Mike McCoy to be fired. Okay, he wants all these people to be fired at Turning Point. So when they fire these core people who were there with Charlie Kirk, when they're gone, what's going to happen? It's actually going to destroy Turning Point. Right now, it's way too soon and too early. They need to, obviously, they're going to make adjustment, but that's just going to take time. But Candace is here to make sure that I want you people who support Turning Point, I want you to look at funny at Mike McCoy. I want you guys to discredit Tyler Boyer, all these other people. By the way, all these people were already there at Turning Point. So if Candace had issues with them, she should have said something when Charlie Kirk was alive. The fact that she's doing all this work and it's all about these people, it shows where her heart is. It's not about truth. She's trying to get these people fired. That's all I see. Any means necessary to destroy Turning Point USA, but disguising as trying to get to the bottom of what happened to Charlie Kirk, trying to do this investigation. There's no investigation over here. If those people have done something, I need to see a police report that Candace Owens has filed against this man. But there's none. So she has nothing.
Your opinion is or what you think you know. The market is the market. So maybe the top execs at Cracker Barrel thought it was brilliant to change the marketing and they brought in the highest paid advertisers to do that and they thought it was sleek and it was the people revolted. And they said, we don't like this. We don't trust it. Put that old man back up there. We want to see the Cracker and the Barrel or we're out. And guess what? The market was right. That's kind of the point of the expression. The market is always right. And the market right now is saying we don't believe a single thing that happened that day. We do not trust the donors at Turning Point USA. We've got no messaging about whether those donors were removed. We want Turning Point to hit hard the people that are lying. Why are we getting this dance around the Catholic topic, which again did not come from America? Okay, it did not come from America. And I would imagine there are a lot of people that are speaking in your ear. That's what it means to to wake up one day and be the chairman and CEO of a major company. But people are going to need clarity on these matters because it doesn't feel like those snakes are out of the garden. That's what it doesn't feel like, I would say. And so, yeah, I would say in every aspect that you can be transparent, which doesn't involve the feds, I would do that. I look forward to obviously watching the interview that is going to premiere in 2 days.
Well, she's right there. Okay. I said if she says something, I don't mind agreeing with her. She's correct. Okay. It's they pick and choose the stuff they respond to. And now when they don't respond to certain things, people be like, okay, are you not responding because it's true? Or are you not responding because you want to protect the brand? Which is it? Okay? Because if something is true, just put it out there. Because sooner or later, it's still going to come out. And this issue just like, okay, because it's going to make people like, you know what? If I cannot trust you in this, then why should I trust you in these other things? But, whatever else is going on over there, I do think Erica assumed the role too quick and too soon, if you ask me. And yes, right now she's in public. She's the CEO of Turning Point USA. People are going to criticize her, and that's fair game. But in her mind, I'm a grieving widow. No, you are chairman and CEO of this organization. Things are going on. They do require your attention. So I think there is an issue for real. Greetings. Good to see you. Adora Galatians. Good to see you. I say, why does Candace care about Turning Point surviving? She does not care about Turning Point surviving. Right now, she's on a quest. Make sure Turning Point USA is destroyed. That's what she's doing. Okay. Oh, Tucker was wrong for not calling out Nikki over his disrespectful speech he showed towards Erica and Charlie Tucker. Oh, yeah. You see? Tucker should have requested. Yeah, and then Nick Fuentes said they plan to talk about it, but they never talked about it. Okay? So they never talked about it. So it's just like, well, yeah. I think, Tucker just wanted to be like, signal to Nick Fuentes, you're not my enemy. I don't want you to be your enemy. You know what? You do your thing, I do my thing. To me is what I gather, because these people are joking for position, believe it or not. They're absolutely joking for positions. So they have their own agendas going on. Okay. So, all right. What did she say? So, man, Candace Owens. Oh my. All right. So let's see what she had to say on this one. Okay. Mrs. Farmer.
So happy. All right, jumping into this rather hilarious story, irrespective of whether or not you personally support the nation of Israel or not, I most certainly do not. You've got to admit that the public representatives of Israel, the Zionists that have platforms, are insane. I'm talking clinically insane, need to be shipped off to rehab for a couple of weeks, Malibu, maybe get you next to the sea or something. And they have come undone. They've never actually really been done on the topic of Tucker Carlson or myself, but this is exceptional. The backstory here is that Tucker Carlson, in case you missed it, hosted Nick Fuentes on his show. And to be clear, I've hosted Nick Fuentes on my show. I don't like Nick Fuentes, and truly not because of anything he said in the past, but because how he treated me and my team and how he lied on me after it. So I actually am judging him based on my experience with him. Okay. I don't really believe in cancel culture, and it was why I platformed him in the first place. He said something when he was 18 and went through the gamut that I went through, that Tucker's going through right now. You know, I'm a 36-year-old adult and I'm equipped to handle that. Not so fair for an 18-year-old kid to go through that. I've been clear about that. And that person should get a second chance to explain their story. So Tucker invited him on to have a conversation. And this has led to people insisting that Tucker Carlson gets canceled from all Turning Point future events. Now, why are they saying he should be canceled? Well, because it's so dangerous that he platformed Nick Fuentes, who has said terrible things online. And Nick Fuentes has been adversarial to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk didn't like Nick Fuentes. So why is Tucker Carlson speaking to him? Like, that's their logic. I spoke to him. I don't like Nick Fuentes. I speak to people I don't like to the whole time, actually. It's a good thing to do. You should get out and speak to people who you disagree with, people who you dislike. It's okay to dislike people. It's not okay to demand that other people be canceled for hosting them and having a conversation with them, or maybe liking the person. Maybe people want to listen to him.
So, yes, like I said, it's not... Candace Owens did interview Nick Fuentes. Nobody voted for her to cancel, because at least, you know, she did ask him questions, okay? Nick didn't even like that interview. So nobody said, like, yeah, you should cancel. So the issue is not about Tucker to be canceled. The issue is, like, Tucker, you profess to be this journalist, but you let Nick Fuentes, say whatever he wants to say. There was no accountability. He was never questioned. He was never, put his feet to the fire, that type of thing. So Candace Owens is going to go hard defending Tucker Carlson, because him and Tucker are cool, and he knows as long as Tucker has a way in Turning Point, Candace Owens eventually will be able to find her way over there as well. So I don't think, I don't know what's going to happen as far as Turning Point is concerned, but their tent is way too big. They'll always have issues because there's so many people associated with them, people who have different agendas, people who have different ideologies. You know what I mean? And Charlie Kirk is gone. Erica Kirk is in here. Can you imagine how many people are in that woman's ear? We go this way, go that way, go this way. So who knows what exactly is going to come out of this. But I don't trust Candace Owens as far as this issue, if you ask me. Okay, so that's Candace. Like, why are you defending hard Tucker Carlson? Okay, yeah. Brutal, Candace Owens. Brutal. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Nikki came out hard on Candace. This shows you. So, but even Candace Owens is even like, you know what? No, we've got a bigger problem. It's the Jews. I'll take the insult from Nick Fuentes. Right now, we are united, right? Against the common enemy. As they say, right? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, the type of thing. So I think that's what I'm saying. So that's what you get with Mrs. Farmer. Okay. Did she say anything interesting over here? All right. It's almost done. Let's see what she had to say. Because it's just like, maybe one day she will show us evidence, okay? We are hoping one day we'll see evidence.
On Fox News with Jesse Waters, I will certainly be watching. Now, speaking of a lack of transparency, I am everyone right now when I say that Kash Patel is the most embarrassing human in the United States. Embarrassing for two reasons. One, Charlie Kirk was a big supporter of Kash Patel, had him on a show, really pushed for him to get the role that he is in, director of the FBI. And he has just been terrible in this case. He just has been objectively, okay? Everything that we have seen coming out of this case makes entirely no sense, from the impassioned messages written by 20-year-old gay men, which don't exactly sound Gen Z, to this kind of ridiculous narrative that we can't see anything. We can't watch him drop down. There's cameras everywhere, but you can't show us anything. All of the holes that are still in this story. And I didn't think he could make matters worse than over the weekend. Really, guys, we are just not a serious nation. That's what I want you to know. After this tweet, I realized we are not a serious nation and the empire is in its decline. I actually think I want to be Russian right now after what Kash Patel tweeted. Kash Patel made me want to be Russian like tomorrow. Like, I'm going to go live with Putin because at least he's like a serious.
That's where things are. You're honestly telling me Candace wants to go and live in Russia, wants to be under Russian rule. So these are the propaganda, the talking points that these people are imbibing, especially these influencers. There is quite a lot of foreign interference in terms of promoting certain narratives on these social media platforms. People cannot even tell, cannot see that some of these things is propaganda. So now the next person who is facing the eye of Candace Owens is the director of FBI. Okay, is the director of FBI. So he'll be hearing from Candace Owens. I do think he did rush to be speaking. You know what I mean? I just say, like, you know what? If you're not experienced, you never served in law enforcement, I don't know, people be given the position of a director of FBI. And these people, they like to tweet, they like to do all these other things. Like, no, when you hold certain positions, certain office, especially in the government, even if you want to, there are certain things you just can't. So that's, to me, I see there's lack of wisdom that's also going on. And now when you're managing certain cases, but you lack certain wisdom in certain areas, you're causing for people to distrust the institutions. You know, they're distrusting the institutions. So the next person on Candace's radar right now is the FBI director. So we just have to pick that up on another day, because it's just like, oh my gosh. Lady Candace, no, we have done a lot. Yeah, but I think we did most of the things that I planned to do today. Yes. So yes, it looks like, civil war inside MAGA is going on. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene showing up on The View. I just like, oh my goodness, what is happening? Yeah. There's some strange bedfellows happening right now, okay? So this is what Ben Shapiro put out, okay? It says, no to groypers, no to cowards like Tucker Carlson who normalize their trash, no to those who champion them, no to demoralization, no to bigotry and anti-meritocratic. Oh, wow. I can't read that, H whatever, No to anti-Americanism, no. So looks like all gloves are off right now. Ben Shapiro is ready. And we are here for it all. I'm like, I'm going to be eating popcorn,
Some of y'all better get y'all discernment together.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Yes. You create the monster, you feed the monster. Okay? Especially the Christian conservatives. You are busy with just people who are conservatives. Yes. It's just going to happen. It's just a matter of time. So right now, the popcorn, we just punch your popcorn. Of course, Ben Shapiro is Jewish. Tucker Carlson is Catholic. Candace Owens says Catholic, but she's not a Christian. Okay? Some of these people are new to faith. I don't even think that they are. But they don't think in categories. They just like to strawman the arguments that they present. They have zero principles. No principles at all. They are willing to undermine the truth for the sake of people in their camp. You know what? The tribalism inside the camp. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, they check you. Oh, okay, you MAGA? You're MAGA? Okay, you're one of us. Okay, no problem. We're just going to keep, no. Team truth out here, okay? There's something inside the camp, you got to call it out. You got to call it out, as they say, right? Remember, politics is culture downstream, right? Religion is culture, okay? So all these things are intertwined, but you cannot leave your Christianity at the door. That's who you are. You have a new identity. You are in Christ. You don't stop being a Christian because now you're in politics or now because you support this candidate or that candidate. No. Your theology comes first, and your theology has to determine your political worldview, your politics. And when it's politics, determine your theology, you are in trouble. You are going to be in trouble. So those are the things that I do. But you guys, whoa, what are you saying? What did I miss that? I didn't see that. Why does Candace, okay, I did see that. Okay, Nick attacked, yes, yes. Nick did that. All right, guys. You guys are simply the best. Yes. For you guys. All right, guys, we have to leave it there. I hope this was very informative to you. I mean, we did cover a lot of ground, so be sure to check it out. I need to get better in putting in the links in the description. That way you guys can just click, watch the whole thing. Because Ben Shapiro, the video was like over 40 minutes. You know, we don't want to play with that. That way you can watch the whole thing, you know? Yeah. But let's continue these conversations in the comment section, okay? Stay tuned. More coming this week. Until next time, remember to be in the know. Thank you.